Changes in the total capital value of a volume can be used in the same way to record surface levels. Bitcoin could drop to the 26,900 level in the next hours or days, so we will have to wait and see how the market reacts. As these levels begin to weaken and eventually fall, Bitcoin's steadfast quality as a unit of record will be tested. Most of the time we watch things, focus on WXY and make unprecedented valuations. Stay tuned for new developments. All risks are against us and we are prepared for them. Bitcoin is clearly in a difficult situation right now. We were quickly overwhelmed by the loss of 26,900 lives and the lack of relief supplies. Consider the pressures inherent in Bitcoin. After you have carefully considered the general outlines of the solution, the optimal space must be carefully considered. That is, they are actually added blocks, not old blocks, and they are not limited to 28,000. The only real upside we can do is to create a new low of $28,000. If you anticipate a complete bypass of the Fibonacci pattern, you can recognize the beautiful range of the Fibonacci trading method that turns into different levels of stable directional levels. I totally agree with that. We believe that Bitcoin should continue to move in the most favorable direction. It is important to check your previous destination carefully. As expected, potential new events could exceed previous highs. The current decline in Bitcoin transaction volume is worrying. It puts me in a good position. I'm very aware of what's going on with Bitcoin, but I keep adding to my portfolio. I then quickly learned that Fibonacci marks and levels for gold rarely change to indicate different pattern events. This is the last option and the most common. It is very important to note that in the long term, once the supply of gold reaches 29,000 or 400, the value of Bitcoin will continue to increase. That's how we managed to reach everyone. The unexpected reaction of the 1:1 Fibonacci retracement has led some to believe that Bitcoin WXY's downtrend is over. However, as I said earlier, I am cautious about the results. I expect you to act quickly, and I agree that redistributing large portions of the prefrontal cortex to different tasks can produce positive signals. Based on everything we've talked about so far, can you make a smart trade to sell, buy, or buy at any time? Note the clearly bullish nature of the RSI marker and its rise and fall. If you wait for the MACD indicator to follow reliably, you will see a strange and daring celebration of Bitcoin's rise and fall. I agree that the content of the text is wrong on this point. Leaving the door half open is definitely not a good idea. In fact, Excusal Fire has seen unusually high trading volumes both in real life and on the Bybit stage. For example, by virtue of Coinbase, you can see a tremendous extension in trading volume 2 to 3 hours earlier, which is apparently a normal reach. As opposed to viable monetary arranging when volume causes a commotion in and out of town, consider serious solid areas for how security will be speedily subsequent to getting the money. Then I can say without hesitation that I agree with what he says. Write down everything you see. I am not in the best position to trade this particular segment as I am increasingly in a sell or buy position in the bullish segment. We know all automated funds are yours. With certain assets, such as gold, you can add or subtract what happens by killing a bit of Bitcoin. Corruption has increased significantly since the last peak. Our conjectures were somewhat fulfilled. For this present circumstance, you can look for another quick acquiring to construct the benefit per share, as is generally proposed. Finally, everyone can remember the gold Fibonacci levels of $29, $200, and $300. As mentioned above, proceed with caution. The central long stretch reference level is 26,900, which tends to an assistance locale at the expense of Bitcoin that could be lost, expecting there indicate hardships, negative pointers, or a lessening well known. Much gratitude to you. Have a fair day. True to form. The change of outright capital cost of the volume can moreover be used to figure the face level. Bitcoin could drop as low as 26,900 concentrations in the next hours or days, so we ought to see how the market answers. As these assist levels with disintegrating and finally breakdown, Bitcoin /S enduring quality as a unit of record will be attempted. We /re constantly looking out for things, watching WXY and doing our own remarkable examination. Constantly follow new developments. Every peril is against us and we are ready to face it. Bitcoin is clear in a difficult place at this time. We are quickly stressed because of the lack of 26,900 lives and response resources. Contemplate the pressures on the reasonable progression of Bitcoin. After you have carefully remembered to be your decisions in general, you should meticulously contemplate your ideal base area. This affects that they are actually added blocks, not the past building blocks, and are not limited to 28,000. The exorbitant vital movement we can take is to make a new $28,000 low level. We are waiting to move the Fibonacci configuration starting to end. We can recognize that the splendid stretch of the Fibonacci meeting will go through the perpetual focus levels of the level series. I completely agree with it. We believe that Bitcoin should continue to move in the most likely process. It is basic to carefully investigate this designated place allocated. As expected, the potential new event can exceed the best performance of the past. At this time, the decrease of the Bitcoin trading volume is unexpected. That puts me in a position of honor. I currently know little about what is going on with Bitcoin, but I will continue to add to my portfolio. Then I quickly discovered that Fibonacci markers and gold levels sometimes change to reflect different pattern events. This is the last option and the most common. In the long term, it is important to consider whether the value of Bitcoin will continue to rise when the supply of gold reaches 29,000, or when it reaches 400. So, let's get started. The surprising reaction to the 1:1 Fibonacci retracement has led some to believe that Bitcoin WXY's downtrend is over. However, as I said earlier, I am cautious about the results. I agree. Please act quickly. Relocating large portions of the prefrontal cortex for different efforts can produce positive signals. With everything we've talked about so far, can you make a very smart deal with what you're selling, buying or buying? Notice the clear bullish nature of the RSI indicator and examples of rising and falling RSI indicators. If you follow the MACD regularly, you will see unique and interesting celebrations of Bitcoin price rises and falls. I agree that this post is wrong. Leaving the door half open is definitely not a good idea. Excusal Fire had some really interesting trading volumes on the Bybit market. For example, thanks to Coinbase, we can see a significant increase in trading volume starting 2 to 3 hours ago, giving the impression that it is in a normal range. When volume causes panic in and around town, it can be hard to believe the compelling reasons why if you don't rest on your money and be patient with your money, security will come right away. On that note, I can say without hesitation that I agree with what he said. Write down everything you see. Because you are currently in a high sell or buy position, you are not in the best position to trade this particular position. We know you have both automated funds similar to gold, so you can increase or decrease your short position by killing Bitcoin bits. The decline extended from the previous high. Our predictions have come true. In the current situation, another suitable acquisition could be sought to expand the dividend per share as usually proposed. Finally, everyone knows us by the gold Fibonacci levels of $29, $200, and $300. As mentioned above, proceed with caution. The key long-term reference level is 26,900, which is based on support for the value of Bitcoin, which could be lost in case of a specific pullback, negative signal or decline. Thank you. I must admit you have a great day. Changes in the total capital value of a volume can be used in the same way to record surface levels. Bitcoin could drop to the 26,900 level in the next hours or days, so we will have to wait and see how the market reacts. As these levels begin to weaken and eventually fall, Bitcoin's steadfast quality as a unit of record will be tested. Most of the time we watch things, focus on WXY and make unprecedented valuations. Stay tuned for new developments. All risks are against us and we are prepared for them. Bitcoin is clearly in a difficult situation right now. We were quickly overwhelmed by the loss of 26,900 lives and the lack of relief supplies. Consider the pressures inherent in Bitcoin. After you have carefully considered the general outlines of the solution, the optimal space must be carefully considered. That is, they are actually added blocks, not old blocks, and they are not limited to 28,000. The only real upside we can do is to create a new low of $28,000. If you anticipate a complete bypass of the Fibonacci pattern, you can recognize the beautiful range of the Fibonacci trading method that turns into different levels of stable directional levels. I totally agree with that. We believe that Bitcoin should continue to move. If Bitcoin's bullish situation dissipates, liquidity will disappear significantly and it will have to return to strong, uncontroversial levels. Anyway, in this Bitcoin quote video we look at the potential for a massive cost drop and the continuation of positive cost signals. Historical data shows that Bitcoin's normal value has inexplicably fallen outside the $28,000 range, and Bitcoin is currently trading well at its lower normal value. There are currently 35 million broken deals, which is the highest level in terms of liquidity. Always use the latest monitored executable code. The webcast is currently live. There are 2 4-hour courses and 2 2-hour courses. It is highly influenced by the RSI indicator and overbought conditions. Despite the negative numbers, Bitcoin's value range performed very well, and the confusion about the overall improvement of 47% turned out to be completely absurd. But little by little, we are getting the complex problem under control. Maybe no one on YouTube showed us a possible answer. The price was around 28,601. Time to stop using Bybit review. The levels in a Fibonacci set are always reasonable if there are lots of crazy bars showing the direction of the blocks. It shows me that my biggest problem is not my looks. RXS could rise quickly after Fibonacci retracement. I think I should show you the latest Fibonacci retracement progress. Again, the buyback procedure is not used in the current situation because it is safer. From above, we take a trip back in time through our overactive prefrontal cortex. Of course, it's much lower than it is now and the gap is widening, but it's still in line with Coinbase's plans. Of course, you can still use the standard procedure to use the bitstamp structure. Bitcoin has created quite a stir in and around the city where the dollar is most persistently strong. Choose your length clearly. Maybe you don't understand things as clearly as you really want. Will the value of Bitcoin go up or down? Taking into account what we said yesterday and the progress we are making towards the new normal going forward, our build numbers are perfect and set a positive pattern for daily builds. The value of Bitcoin is falling these days. It became more and more important. Coinbase charts don't show a drop in volume, but Bybit does. The Bitstamp chart effectively captures this downtrend by lowering the truth bar. This assumes that you will have the same savings as before, regardless of whether you now decide to divorce. I think it was well done and had a big and satisfying ending. Because of the popularity of Bitcoin in this country, they are quite wary of disrupting their existing business areas. Since we operate in this market, we need to provide quick updates on the latest changes in the Bitcoin registry. Question 1: Bitcoin's heyday is over. We showed our words with tears. In a future article, I will provide a definitive answer to the question of when you start to lose faith in Bitcoin as a whole. In this direction, we should expect a significant drop in Bitcoin transactions and a return to previous lows. Because of this potential, we must focus on the classic cases of bullying and aggression to identify the third cycle of this story. If this leads to a crisis, what is our next real spending goal? The central target is the Fibonacci retracement of 0.618, around 24,500, a sharp drop from the previous low. I agree wholeheartedly that you are right. One of the best financial goals in the current situation is for Bitcoin to go down in the next 2 to 3 days. We will process your claim within a few hours. The edge continues. However, this can happen quickly if you don't take the necessary steps to achieve your ideal or short-term security situation. It is not yet known where the relevant Bitcoin trading conference will be held. In this particular case, consider how it is possible to focus on a time frame of about 4 hours, and analyze all the important components to choose a reasonable Fibonacci retracement level. Please raise your hand politely instead of lowering it. When Bitcoin finally gained popularity, it struggled with standard Fibonacci retracements with an average behavior perspective. Finally, a breakout of the past high will provoke a key Fibonacci level or something totally different that is hid away from us. Clearly, the business replied by continuing to raise costs above past highs. Something to add. My position is that this small area is currently the most inadequate. Description: we must be ready to deal with certain problems, so we have to focus on important areas. I don't have to think about it. The phrase, Bitcoin horrendous, is written on the blackboard. ///////. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Backslash houses backslash 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 Iden's house backslash 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 as case the case backslash 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 Iden's asterisk 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 asterisk. Assuming no one really cares either way, support this amazing new development. The situation is rapidly deteriorating. The starting value of Bitcoin is $26,900. With the closure of our beautiful canal, this basic research facility has been virtually transformed. As the fundamental outlook for Bitcoin becomes clearer, liquidity should generally increase and return to strong, uncontroversial levels. However, this Bitcoin offer video looks at the potential with huge costs and continuous positive cost signals. Regarding the data from the past, the general cost of Bitcoin seems to be unknown in $28,000, and Bitcoin trades at a low cost. As of now, 35 million offers are undermined, which is the main level with respect to liquidity. Constantly use the latest maintained advancement codes. The webcast is currently live. There are 2 4-hour courses and 2 2-hour courses. It is astoundingly affected by the RSI marker and overbought conditions. No matter what the negative markers, the Bitcoin cost workspace performed very well, and the 47% misconception of the overall improvement turned out to be absolutely absurd. Anyway, we are slowly getting the problem under control. Maybe no one at YouTube gave us a possible answer. The price was around 28,601. Time to stop using Bybit review. If there are many crazy bars showing the course of the block, the Fibonacci level is embarrassed. The most difficult problem of my appearance is that I rarely see it. RXS could rise quickly after Fibonacci retracement. I figure I should show you the last progression of the Fibonacci game plan. Again, the buyback procedure is not used in the current situation because it is safer. From above, we take a trip back in time through our overactive prefrontal cortex. Clearly, it is rather lower than it is as of now, and the opening is expanding, but it really fits the plan of Coinbase. To use the Bitstamp system, you can clearly similarly use the standard procedure. Bitcoin has made waves in and around the cities where it is the dollar's most enduring power. Choose your length clearly. Maybe you don't/T appreciate as clearly as could truly be anticipated. Will Bitcoin cost go up or down? Taking into account what